I honestly was just so excited that I was interviewing a female host, like a real estate
Yeah,
investor, because there's not a lot of us out there. And so I was like,
right. There's
oh my,
really,
and you're a mom, like you're a family woman, like, and you're a businesswoman. So I'm just so excited to like interview you and get to hear your story.
yeah. Do you do this too? Wholesale?
So I do, but not, I'm a deal finder for a group because
Okay.
I personally don't have, I know I don't have kids, but I just like don't have the time with how much work I have and stuff. But and honestly, it's not like my true passion, but I love driving for dollars.
Yeah.
So I actually team up with one of our clients here in Indy, and I give them, I drive and get them a minimum every week and then just give it to them and they'll cut me if they get a deal. So
Yeah. That's awesome. That's what,
I
that's
did
totally.
sales and I did postcards. I've gone on appointments, but it was just, as you know, a lot because you're like, and all of them fell through. Like I had 5 to 7 calls and I went on those appointments and they always didn't work out or something
Yeah.
like that, or they ghosted you. And I was just,
It's defeating. It
it
really
is.
is.
How long have you been doing real estate investing, or when did you start?
We actually started when our first daughter was born, who's 4. So
Oh,
we've been
wow.
doing it 4 years. And let's see. And it took us like 2 years to really get up and going. We were kind of feeling like you did at first, just kind of defeated, and we were doing everything on our own. And then we just started growing and hiring people. And that's when it was just, it made a shift and it finally started paying off. So I think
What
that,
kind of, oh, I'm so sorry. I did not mean to interrupt
no,
you.
no, 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 go ahead.
What kind of real estate investing do you guys like focus on?
We mainly do wholesaling,
Okay.
and we also do some um, flips, and we also do a little bit of rentals, a little bit of everything.
I love it. You guys are a one-stop shop of like all the things. Like what's your how many rentals do you guys have?
We have 10.
Oh.
Yeah, and we have right now it's like we wanted to really grow our rental portfolio. That was our goal at the beginning of this year. And then with the market the way it is, we were able to sell all our wholesale deals for so high. So we were like, there's just not, we're going to hold off and just do what the market tells us to do. When it's time to sell, it's time to sell. When it's time to hold, it's time to hold. And right
Right.
now it's time to sell. So that's what we're doing.
And are you just doing it in Augusta, or are you doing
Yep.
it? Oh my gosh. And you're not far from Atlanta's like hot right now too. So
Oh my
you're
gosh, I know. There's really only 2 or maybe 3 wholesalers that we know that do what we do to the scale we do it. But I know in Atlanta, there's like hundreds, who knows how many.
it's so, and
So,
it's so competitive. Everyone just keeps telling me that. It's just
yeah.
it's a
See,
very
that really doesn't happen to us. Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. Sorry.
no.
Um,
And so do you guys mainly do driving for dollars, or do you do list pulling? Like how do you get your
yeah,
leads?
we do both. But I will say that driving for dollars is our best. And we only have somebody who drives for us 10 hours a week. And that's how we get most of our deals, honestly. I'm gonna pull up some numbers here. Let me find them. But
You already knew what I was going to ask. So that was what I was
yeah,
going to say. How many deals did you guys, what's your deal breakdown, I guess?
let's see if I'm finding the right one. It's the last time it was updated. Campaign trackers, my VA. I think that's it. Okay. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so out of our 26 closings this year, 10 of them have been driving for dollars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the 26 of just 2021. That's incredible.
Yeah, it's going great. We're doing really well. And then not to mention a lot of those are lead Sherpa, but which is texting. And I'm not quite, I meant to do this before this podcast. I wanted to see if those were from a driving for dollar list, but I don't have that broken down. But yeah, and just out of this year it's been $178,000 for driving for dollars. Yeah, it's amazing. We love it.
And you said that's just this year?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. And you guys have been doing this. You said you started 4 years ago, but two years ago you like really started going in?
Yeah. Two years ago is when we started growing our team and hiring people. And
how big is your team?
We have 2 acquisition specialists, 1 VA, 3 cold callers, and 1 driving for dollars guy. So I don't know how many that is, 7, 8.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do you guys, I know you said you use Lead Sherpa, so you do what's kind of your cadence for follow-up then? Do you guys like mail first and then call, or do you call and then text, or?
We call and text all of our leads.
Oh,
it doesn't come like first then second. We call and text all of them. So,
are you guys seeing any difference with, I know texting's getting so like restricted. Is there any way, what's kind of your strategy with that, or what you guys are thinking about that?
Well, we're pretty much kind of just doing what we're told to do. Like we make all the changes necessary, like put in these opt-out words, avoid these words and this and that. And I guess the texting world is still kind of up in the air about what the right thing to do is. They don't really know yet.
No.
So we're just kind of going with the flow, doing things like we've always done. Since we are in a smaller market, I don't even think we send out 10,000 texts a month. Like we can't come up with that many. And from what I gather, the new texting is going to be like, they want to keep it down 500 a day or something around there. And we
lots of like little restriction things. And I feel like every place is kind of, like I'm sure we know Lead Sherpa CEO, and I know everyone's just kind of like, well, we're going to see what happens come June 1st of like what they're actually going to restrict, what your like delivery rate is going to be.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know what's going to happen, but I watched a video with Brent Daniels, did some live thing, and he was saying that it's actually not a bad thing, because then less people will be doing it and it'll be less competitive. You can refine your lists and choose the people who are just the driving for dollars leads or whatever, and just text those, and you'll find great success with just doing that. And he said that when you text these humongous amounts of numbers, it ends up being less successful because there's so many, he calls them looky-loos, and people who are just trying to see what you'll offer, but they don't have any interest in selling. So the more you refine your list and make sure you're reaching out to distressed homeowners, the more success you'll have. So it's not a bad thing. It's okay. As long as we don't block it all together.
Yeah, right. As long as we don't completely just like go away, it'll be okay. And how often, your cold callers, how much do they work through the week? Like how many hours do you have them doing?
Well, we have 50 hours a week right now, and we're moving up to 60. We just hired a new one. So, he's actually starting today. So we'll see how he does.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy how like you guys have I'm just so in awe of like 26 already in 2021. That makes me so happy for you guys. Do you guys ever drive for dollars yourselves with the kids in the car or anything?
No, I used to. And when I first started, I would it was before my second was born. Actually, when I was pregnant with my second, that's when I hired somebody, because I was like, I guess I can't really drive with 2 kids and a baby, like a baby in the car.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And I used to drop my daughter off at school. She just went to like a Mother's Day out for 4 hours, 2 days a week. And I would spend those 4 hours driving for dollars. And I actually loved it. I thought it was very therapeutic. I'd listen to podcasts, I would listen to a book or whatever. And I just thought it was so relaxing. And I loved riding around my community and seeing all the houses. And like, I would see the most cool places. I was like, wow, I didn't even know this existed,
Right.
So I enjoyed it. And, but then I ended up hiring someone, and that has been so great, because if I ever couldn't drive, then I would be down for the week. And So it worked out great for us. And Carrie is his name, and he'll also do other random odd and end things for us. And he'll go to some of our walkthroughs for our properties to let people walk through it, and he hosts those, and he does other things. But I would love to be, I wish sometimes that I was in a market like Atlanta or something, because you can take such huge advantage of y'all's platform with it and hire multiple and have them all driving. And but I asked him, I was like, do you want to drive more than 10 hours? I mean, you can. He's like, honestly, I don't think I have enough homes to mark because we run out because we're in such a smaller market. But it just goes to show you how much power driving for dollars does have, because if you're in a big market, you can do way more than what we're doing. We're just
Would you guys ever expand? Like, is that kind of, what's your like game plan for that?
We thought about it, but I don't know. That's a whole nother bridge we're wanting to cross. We're wanting to eventually do commercial real estate. And so we're trying, if we were to grow and do something bigger, then I think that's what it would be. And so we love our little market. We're doing fine here, and we're not intending to do virtual anything for now.
I love that though. You guys have to build such good relationships, and since you're in a pretty good, like smaller community, you help someone out, they tell someone else.
Yeah. Like yeah. And I know it is a very small community, and we get to know everybody, and it's funny. And we'll talk to the same seller like 10 times on accident, because it's just a small area. And I keep thinking like, well, we're going to run out of deals, but we don't run out. It's fine.
There's always going to be someone that needs your help, and you're going to be there to help them.
Exactly.
I would love for you to tell us, I know you have 10 driving for dollars just this year that you could tell me about, but is there one deal? I'd love to hear about one of the deals you did and share it with everyone.
Okay. Yeah, actually, let's see. I'm trying to think of one in particular. I know that I marked one back when I used to drive a year ago, and I ended up driving for dollars, and it was actually on a bunch of other lists, but that was the one that I think got it. And I texted this lead. And so this is just the power of texting. I'm sure people have been calling him like crazy, but we texted, and that's how he finally responded. And he was this older gentleman, and he was in a nursing home. And he said, you know what? Yeah, I do want to sell. And the house was completely gutted. It was a brick ranch house in a good area. So I'm sure people had their eyes on it, but that just goes to show you the power of texting. People who don't respond to phone calls, they will text you back.
And that was just a one-off text that you just sent?
No, it was through Lead Sherpa.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, we reached out to him, and it ended up being a great deal. I think we made like 25 or 30,000 off of it. And I'm trying to think about, I don't have like any really good stories. I just know that a huge majority of our deals are driving for dollars. It's just amazing. Let me see one thing, how many we have in the pipeline right now that are driving for dollars. What was it? Can't find it. Oh, I don't have it on my Podio, like on the big thing. But yeah. I do know it's probably half of them. And we have 13 under contract right now. So
oh my God.
Yeah.
So crazy. Crazy good, but like I'm just so impressed with you guys and your operation. Now, it's you and your husband that are doing this, like as the owners?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, I always want to ask this, how do you guys make that work, like as a professional relationship? And because so many people want to do that, and they're just so afraid it's going to put like a
strain.
Yeah, a strain on their relationship. So what kind of advice do you have for people like that?
Well, my biggest advice is you try and make your own lanes and have your own separate responsibilities. He does acquisitions, so he's in charge of all of our acquisition specialists and following up on the reports we get and their calls, and having meetings with them. And I'm kind of in charge of more admin and like marketing, and that side of things. So we stay in our own lane. We make decisions separate of each other. That's my biggest advice. And I know a lot of people are out there and they wish their spouse would be interested in it. And that is hard. I do know that what both kicked us in gear from the very get-go, and this is so cliche from any real estate investor, but we read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And we immediately just shifted mindsets, and we knew we wanted to do something. It took us a while to figure out what we wanted to do, but this was definitely the best pick for us, and we've both grown to love it. And I used to be a nurse. I just recently stopped. And he's a quail biologist. So I know nobody's ever heard what that is.
But that is so interesting.
Yeah. And so he still does it full time, but he gets to work from home and he has flexible hours. So we just both work when we can and work in between naps and all that stuff. And it just works for us. Yeah. Oh, another driving for dollars story. We actually, the house we live in is a driving for dollars house. Yeah.
I swear I love those stories, because I just heard another one where it's like they found their home in the place they wanted to move, and it was a driving for dollars lead.
Well, unfortunately, this isn't where we want to stay, but it's right when before our daughter was born, we wanted a 3-bedroom house, and we're like, well, this one's right down the street, and we found it, and it worked, and we got a great deal on it. So we have a bunch of equity, and we'll rent it out one day. But it was still cool,
Yeah, I mean, you literally found your own house. And
exactly.
I'm so sorry, I'm going to bombard you with questions, but I'm so interested in, like, who manages, do you have a property manager for your 10 properties, or do you do that?
We have a property manager.
Okay. When did you feel like you needed to have one? Because I feel like some people are like, I don't know when. It's a lot of work. Like, when did you guys feel comfortable?
Immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah. We didn't wait. We knew we wanted to do that. We wanted to focus our time. It's about priority management, and our priority was not on learning how to manage rental properties. It was about focusing on wholesaling and growing our business of finding properties so that we can buy more rentals and then delegate the management part to someone else.
I will say you guys sound like the best at, like, delegating that I've heard.
Really?
Yeah, just because you were so aware of that. You're like, no, like, we're not waiting. I just need to delegate this because I know I'm not going to be able to give it the time that it needs. Where I feel like a lot of people teeter on that because they like the control.
Yes.
I'm one of those people.
No, I am too. And that's why it did take us a long time to hire like a VA. I honestly felt like that was the hardest one because it had so much intricate detail and stuff that I like to control, and especially the marketing. Like, I really wanted to make sure it was perfect. And same with driving for dollars. I'm like, I just doubt that people mark houses the same way I do, but
yes,
you just have to if you want to grow.
Yeah. And so one, I wanted to also thank you for what you have done with being a nurse, because now I just was talking to one of my best friends who's a nurse, and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys literally are saints. So thank you for doing that.
Well, you're welcome. We enjoy it.
And then what would be, I always like to ask this, what would be a piece of advice you'd give someone just getting into this that you wish you would have kind of known in the beginning, or had that mindset, I guess? Because a lot of people come in and, you make mistakes, or there's something that comes up that you didn't realize you needed to know. Is there any piece of advice you would give?
Yes. And is it, I'm so sorry. My daughter is screaming back. Can I pause it real quick? Can you spit that out?
I will put a note.
Oh, my husband just ran through to her room. Okay, we're good. Okay. So, piece of advice, starting out with wholesaling or driving for dollars?
I would say driving for dollars. I'd like to hear that one.
Okay. So the way that we drive for dollars is we mark like an enormous amount of houses in a neighborhood. If I see one shutter that fell off, I mark it. If I see, this sounds really bad, but if I see a wheelchair ramp, I mark it. Our first flip was because I marked the wheelchair ramp. It ended up being a personal thing. Yeah, I know. So I tell my driver to be extremely liberal with what he marks. If he has any doubt, just mark it. So sometimes we'll mark like 100 plus in an hour. And that way we just have like huge amounts of leads, and it performs really well. And also, obviously starting out with driving for dollars, you want to focus on like the brick ranches. Those are always the bread and butter, and built in the 60s, 70s. The really old houses are, it's too old. They're going to have too many issues. And then the brand new houses aren't going to have anything wrong with them.
Right.
But I have found several in nice neighborhoods. You can also, if you like want to try something new, you can go to like a newer neighborhood built in the 90s and find, or like maybe even in the 2000s, and find the worst houses in that neighborhood. And those end up being really good too. So,
I
because
love it.
I remember one time I was driving in a newer neighborhood and I was like, oh man, how did I end up in this neighborhood? This is not going to be anything. And I found a garage that had like some siding off on like the side of it, and I marked it, and ended up being a great deal for us. So I remembered marking that one, because usually you don't remember. It's like, I don't even remember, but I specifically remember that neighborhood thinking, wow, this is way too nice. And then it ended up being okay. So anyways, I kind of just went around in a circle, but
No, you found, I love that you said that, because I've definitely had that feeling of going into a neighborhood and thinking, well, crap, I'm going to waste my time here because all of these are way too nice.
right.
But you do find that diamond in the rough, and it's like,
Absolutely.
it's just like worth it. So
Yeah.
even though
Yeah.
you may feel like it wastes your time, you find that deal, and hey, it made a great deal for you guys.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
loved also that you said looking at the like older houses that aren't like too old, but they look old enough. Cause I always, every time I see a metal awning, I'm like, I'm adding it. I know even if the grass is
See?
cut
Yeah.
or anything, I'm like, I'm adding it. Who keeps the metal awning? A grandma, an older person, maybe somebody who
Yeah.
needs to leave. But
Yeah.
I
You're
know a
right.
member also added one because they had an old Buick in the driveway, and that was the only reason he added it, and that ended up being a deal. So it's like, I love that you said you're very like liberal with picking, because I sometimes feel bad how liberal I am with picking, but I'm like, they're
No, I know. Yeah. No, I see like anything that way raises a red flag. I mark it. I don't even care. I'm like, I'm marking it, you know? He just,
yeah,
and
the doubt may be there, but if you had that inkling of like maybe, I'm like, just add it.
yeah, absolutely. It's exactly what I teach my one guy. I mean, I only have one guy, but that just goes to show you the power of driving for dollars. You don't have to drive an enormous amount to have success with it.
And
It
how powerful just one driver will be. You have one steady. How do you, if you don't mind me asking, how do you incentivize him? Is he paid hourly or is he paid per deal?
Yeah, I actually use y'all system to track his hours. He presses the, I guess, start driving and end driving, and I also hold him accountable. I make sure I like check how many properties he adds and stuff like that. But I pay hourly, and then I also pay, I think, $100 bonus if one of his closes,
Oh,
which is
that's so
almost
nice.
which is almost on a weekly basis. So we actually just closed one yesterday that was driving for dollars. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for booking this, because I am so one, like I said, I was talking to the other gals today and I was like, I have a female like that I'm interviewing today. There's just,
Yeah.
I've maybe had one other female, and nothing against the gents, but like it's so amazing to see. I mean, you're a mom, you work and do this and manage people, and you're a boss. So
Gosh, I feel like I'm drowning sometimes, but um, that's why I just have to hire it out and, just work
and the
around it.
delegation continues.
Yes. I know my next thing to hire is the dispositions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because you said you had two acquisitions. Is your husband one of the acquisitions people, or do you
He's
have two
not.
extra?
He's not. He's too busy with his job to be able
Oh,
to
right. He's still
promote.
full time.
Yeah, in order to um, commit to that many hours that it requires. So we have one that we've had for 2 years. He's really happy this year. Because he's making lots of money.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
Yeah, but our second one he's still learning. He's new, and he's getting there though. So
Is
it's
that
absolutely
so?
gorgeous.
I have to ask you a really random question, but since you said that he's a quail biologist, which I've never heard ever, is that a quail on the wall then?
That
What?
is a
I don't.
duck on the
It is a
wall.
duck. Okay.
A quail is like this big,
Oh,
and
see, I'm learning new things.
I
It's
know
just
I
so
didn't know
interesting.
either. When he told me it was a quail, I'm like, oh, I think my dad has a quail on his wall. Turns out it was a pheasant. I don't know, but
Okay, that made me
now
feel better of asking that because I was like, I might sound really dumb here if I ask if that I don't know what a quail looks like.
no, and our dogs are bird dogs, and they hunt throughout the winter. That's his passion, Paul's
Oh my
passion. So
gosh. That's so interesting. I've never heard that, but I'm very intrigued by it because that
yeah,
has to be a very niche thing.
it is. It is.
And how long have you guys been together?
We've been married 5 years,
Oh
and
my goodness.
yeah, together like 7, something like that. So yeah,
You
we
guys are doing amazing. And your girls, I just love that they like get to see mom like working and taking care of the family. And like they're like, oh yeah, mom's so cool.
I know,
And
right?
the toddler probably
And
doesn't think that quite yet, but she's on her way.
I know, yeah, the 4-year-old, she knows like everybody at the attorney's office for going to closings, and they all give her coloring sheets, and they just know her personally now.
And do you guys have a title company that you mainly go to then when you do
Yeah,
closings? That okay.
yeah, we have two mainly
Okay.
that we use. So, and in Georgia, we use attorneys. I don't understand that from state to state. I know some states do title companies, some do attorneys, but Georgia's an attorney
Oh,
state.
okay. I did not realize that. Okay. Good
Yeah,
to know.
you learned some
Um,
new things today.
I know I've learned what a quail is. I've now learned that you use attorneys in Georgia. I
Yeah.
want to be very respectful of your time. If you have any questions ever, like you have my email and everything, and also my phone number's on there. So if you guys ever need anything, just hit me
Okay.
up.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
It's been such a pleasure to get to know you.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much, Elise. And
Yeah. If you need anything, like I said, just let me know.
yeah, and you too. You too.
Okay. Thanks, Rita.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Bye.